Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. Today we're taking a look at the Triangle of Love by Tom Ogazon. It's a really interesting look at a symbolic triangle that he uses to kind of explain this mystical approach to some of life's challenges.
Okay.
And I think, this could be something that's really interesting to our listeners who are maybe, looking for some new ways to handle difficult relationships or just situations in their lives, or even, find a bit more peace and harmony with themselves and in the world.
Yeah, I think Ogazon really tries to present this triangle as a really practical tool, something that can be used, for personal meditation, for growth.
So how does this triangle work?
So picture like a triangle,
Okay.
with 2 points at the bottom. And those represent kind of the material world, where we experience the ups and downs, the light and the shadow of everyday life.
The duality.
Exactly,
Yeah.
the duality. And then there's a single point at the top, and that symbolizes the spiritual plane, kind of a source of guidance and light.
Okay, so it's like we're trying to move from the challenges that we face at the bottom of the triangle up to a higher state of awareness at the top.
Exactly. And Ogazon kind of guides us through this journey using the 3 points of the triangle.
Okay.
And each of them represents a key principle for navigating life's complexities.
Okay.
So the first point focuses on detachment. Now, you might think this is about, giving up material possessions or something.
Right.
But Ogazon takes it a step further.
You're talking about detaching from the ego itself.
Exactly.
That's kind of a radical idea.
It is. But think about it this way. Our ego is often what keeps us, fixated on external things, on fleeting things. And it traps us in these reactive cycles. And Ogazon argues that, this attachment to the ego is ultimately a source of suffering.
Yeah.
He gives examples like clinging to the past, worrying about the future, or even obsessing over our own thoughts and emotions.
Haven't we all been there?
Yeah.
There are definitely times when I just feel like I get so caught up in my own head that it's impossible to see things clearly.
Absolutely. And what Ogazon suggests is that by cultivating detachment, we can shift from a reactive state to a more proactive one. It doesn't mean becoming emotionless or running away from responsibility or anything. It's about, creating space between ourselves and our immediate reactions.
Okay.
So we can respond to challenging situations with more clarity and maybe even a bit more humor.
So instead of being like swept away by our emotions, we can learn to kind of observe them, understand them, and choose how we want to respond.
Precisely.
Okay, so that's detachment.
That's the first point.
What about the second point of the triangle?
That brings us to compassion. And Ogazon breaks down compassion into 3 distinct levels,
Okay.
which I find incredibly helpful for actually understanding how to apply it in our lives.
What's the first level?
The first level is compassion for the self. Now, I know we often focus on being compassionate towards others, right?
Right.
But Ogazon reminds us that true compassion starts within.
Okay.
It's about recognizing our own inherent worth, treating ourselves with kindness.
Some people might say that that's a little self-centered.
Right. But think about it this way. We can't truly offer genuine compassion to others if we haven't cultivated it within ourselves first.
It's like you have to fill your own cup before you can pour into someone else's.
Exactly. And one really practical way to cultivate self-compassion is through self-care practices. It could be something as basic as taking a walk in nature, enjoying a warm bath, or listening to your favorite music.
Okay.
Anything that nourishes your mind, body, and spirit.
So self-care is not selfish. It's essential for cultivating compassion.
Exactly.
That's a good insight. What about the second level of compassion?
The second level is compassion for all of creation. This involves expanding our awareness beyond our immediate circle to encompass all beings and even the universe itself.
Wow, that's a big leap. How do we even begin to practice compassion on that scale?
Ogazon suggests, starting small. Starting with small, intentional acts. Maybe it's sending healing thoughts during meditation, or engaging in a random act of kindness, or simply appreciating the beauty of the natural world.
So shifting our perspective from me to we.
Exactly. And it's about offering our support and love wherever it's needed, without judgment, remembering that, we're all on this journey together.
That leads us to the third and perhaps most challenging level of compassion, which is directed towards
the people in our lives. These are the individuals we interact with daily, the ones who trigger us, push our buttons, and test our patience.
That one hits home. Relationships can be tough. especially when you feel like you're constantly butting heads with someone.
Absolutely. But remember, as Ogazon points out, we can't control others, only ourselves.
Right.
So how do we cultivate compassion in those difficult relationships? Well, one thing Ogazon reminds us of is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
I mean, that's easier said than done sometimes, especially when someone is really pushing your buttons. Do you have any tips for dealing with those moments?
One technique I find particularly helpful is to just repeat the phrase, be kind, be kind, be kind to yourself.
Okay.
Whenever you're facing a challenging interaction, it might sound overly simplistic, but trust me, it can be a really powerful way to just shift your mindset from judgment to compassion, especially in the heat of the moment.
Like a reset button.
Exactly.
Yeah. What other techniques does he suggest?
He also encourages us to look for something to appreciate in everyone we encounter,
Okay.
no matter how difficult they might be. This doesn't mean condoning their behavior,
Right.
but rather finding that tiny spark of goodness within them.
So even in the most challenging relationships, we can still find a way to practice compassion.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And in doing so, we not only transform the dynamic of the relationship, but we also cultivate a deeper sense of peace within ourselves.
Okay, so we've explored 2 points of the triangle now: detachment and compassion. These are powerful concepts, but I have to admit I'm still a little fuzzy on how they all tie together.
Well, that's where the third point of the triangle comes in, and this one takes us to the very heart of Ogazon's approach.
And that is?
The third point is relationship with the master within. And this is where Ogazon's mystical approach really shines.
Okay, so what exactly do we mean by master within?
So it's that inner source of wisdom and guidance that we all possess, that connection to something greater than ourselves.
So not necessarily a religious concept, but more of a universal idea of tapping into our own inner wisdom.
Exactly. And Ogazon emphasizes that it's not enough to just acknowledge this inner wisdom. We need to cultivate an active, ongoing relationship with it.
So it's like we're not just seeking answers, but engaging in a dialogue with our higher selves.
Precisely. But it's not always easy to distinguish between the voice of our ego and the voice of the master within.
I can see that. I often get caught up in my own thoughts and desires. And sometimes it's hard to tell if I'm, making decisions from a place of wisdom or just following my own impulses.
That's a common struggle, and Ogazon acknowledges that. He offers several techniques for discerning between the two voices. One technique he suggests is paying attention to the quality of the voice. Does it sound like your usual inner monologue? Or does it have a different tone, a different energy?
So it's about tuning into our intuition, paying attention to those subtle cues that might guide us in the right direction. What are some other ways we can connect with this master within?
Well, Ogazon stresses the importance of meditation. He encourages us to establish a regular practice of quieting the mind and creating space for that inner wisdom to emerge.
I think a lot of people get intimidated by meditation, though. They think it has to be this complicated, time-consuming practice.
I understand that. But it doesn't have to be complicated at all. Even just a few minutes of quiet reflection each day can make a difference. Ogazon suggests a simple practice of just sitting comfortably, closing your eyes, and focusing on your breath. And as you breathe, just ask the question, who is giving me this answer?
Okay.
It's a way of directly addressing that inner source, becoming more aware of its presence.
Like active listening,
Exactly.
turning into that subtle voice within.
Yeah. And finally, Ogazon encourages journaling the responses you receive. This allows you to look back and notice any patterns
Okay.
or recurring themes in the guidance you're receiving. And that can help you understand how the master within communicates with you, specifically.
So keeping a record of those whispers of wisdom so we can learn to recognize them more easily.
Exactly. And remember, developing a relationship with the master within takes time and practice.
Of course.
There's no quick fix or one-size-fits-all approach. It's an ongoing journey of self-discovery and growth.
He really emphasizes that journey, doesn't he? I love how he ties it back to the Rosicrucian concept of knowing thyself.
Absolutely. He sees the triangle of love as a roadmap for that journey. Imagine yourself at the base of the triangle, with the master within at the top, representing that source of light and guidance. And as you cultivate detachment and compassion, you gradually move closer to the wisdom and love of the master within, ascending towards that point of oneness and enlightenment.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together now. Detachment and compassion aren't just isolated concepts. They're essential tools for navigating that journey towards a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us.
That's a great way to put it. And that journey leads us to the next key concept Ogazon explores, the love of the master within.
Okay, that sounds beautiful. What does he mean by that?
Ogazon describes this love as a love that transcends duality, encompassing both detachment and compassion.
So it's like saying that true love isn't about clinging or controlling, but rather about allowing things to be as they are, accepting both the light and the shadow.
Exactly. And Ogazon illustrates this concept with a beautiful image. The rose gives honey to the bee.
Yes, I remember that image.
Yeah.
He talks about the cross symbolizing the hardships of life. And above it is a blossoming rose,
Right.
representing the blossoming heart, the radiance of the soul.
Real cool image.
And then there are the bees, busy working, extracting nourishment from the rose. Such a powerful metaphor.
It is. And he suggests that just as the rose offers its nectar to the bee without attachment or expectation, so too does the master within offer its love unconditionally.
Okay.
It's a love that isn't dependent on our actions or our worthiness.
So it's not something we have to earn or prove ourselves worthy of. It's simply there, always available to us if we're open to receiving it.
Exactly. And in experiencing that unconditional love, we're empowered to cultivate that same love within ourselves, both toward ourselves and towards others.
It's a beautiful idea. But I have to ask, if the master within is this source of unconditional love and wisdom, why do we experience so much pain and suffering in our lives?
That's a profound question, and Ogazon doesn't shy away from it. He suggests that suffering is often a result of our own resistance to the flow of life, our attachment to things being different than they are.
So it's not that the master within is withholding love or causing us pain. It's more like we're creating our own suffering through our resistance and attachment.
Exactly. And that's where the principles of detachment and compassion become so crucial. Detachment allows us to let go of our rigid expectations, surrender to the present moment. Compassion allows us to meet our pain with kindness and understanding, without judgment.
So it's not about avoiding pain or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about learning to navigate those challenges with grace and resilience, guided by the wisdom and love of the master within.
Precisely. And Ogazon offers a powerful tool for doing just that. He outlines a meditation exercise specifically designed to help us connect with the master within and apply the principles of the triangle of love to our own lives.
This sounds like a really practical way to put these concepts into action. Would you mind walking us through it? I'm sure our listeners would be interested to hear more about it.
Of course. It's a simple yet profound practice that anyone can incorporate into their daily routine.
Okay, so how does this meditation exercise work? Where do we even begin?
Well, Ogazon suggests, finding a comfortable seated position and just focusing on your breath.
Okay, so just basic breath work.
Yeah, just some deep breathing, with long inhalations and complete exhalations without pausing between the breaths.
And he describes this as a way to harmonize our inner being and prepare us to enter what he calls the celestial sanctum.
That's right.
Oh. And he even provides a beautiful affirmation to accompany the breath work.
Oh, really? What's that?
It goes like this. May the sublime essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that I may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in all purity and perfect dignity.
Wow, it's powerful.
Yeah.
I can feel a shift in energy just hearing those words spoken aloud. Yeah, it's a beautiful way to invoke that sense of the divine.
Right.
Create a sacred space within for this connection.
So we've set the stage, we're breathing deeply, and we've recited the affirmation. What's next?
Now it's time to visualize the triangle of love itself.
Okay, how do we do that?
So as you inhale and exhale, just imagine each point of the triangle you know. The relationship with the master within, detachment and compassion. And Ogazon suggests, intoning the vowel sound OM 3 times as you visualize each point, allowing the sound to resonate through your being.
OM.
Yeah.
It's like the universal sound of creation.
Exactly.
I always feel a sense of peace and connection when I'm chanting OM.
It's a powerful vibration for sure.
Yeah.
Now, as you chant OM, bring to mind a specific relationship or challenge that's causing you difficulty in your life.
Okay.
So you're focusing that energy on a real life situation where you might need guidance or support.
Okay, so we're bringing that into the meditation.
Exactly. And now here's where we engage directly with the master within.
This is the part I'm really curious about.
Okay, so Ogazon guides us to visualize the master within in whatever way feels most natural for us.
Okay.
So maybe you see a wise figure, or maybe you simply sense a loving presence.
Okay.
It's entirely up to you.
And do we ask for advice? What do we do?
Yes, but not in a general sense.
Yeah.
Ogazon provides specific questions to guide our interaction with the master within.
Okay.
So the first question he suggests asking is, Master within, show me how to be more compassionate toward this person or situation.
Helpful question.
And he suggests pausing for a few moments after asking each question, just to allow space for the wisdom of the master within to emerge.
So we're not expecting an immediate answer. We're just creating a space for insight.
Exactly. The next question focuses on detachment.
Okay.
Ogazon suggests asking, Master within, teach me how to detach my ego from this person or situation.
So this is where we let go of control our attachment to outcomes,
Right.
our identification with the drama.
Exactly. And again, just pause for a moment after asking. Allow the wisdom to unfold.
Okay, and what's the final question?
The final question brings it all together, and Ogazon suggests asking, Master within, allow me to see, to feel, and to know how to best express your love in this relationship or situation. Help me understand what you see that I don't. Help me release the pain and express your love.
Beautiful.
It's about surrendering to that wisdom and love.
Yeah?
Allowing that love to guide our actions and transform our experience.
Wow.
And he suggests pausing for a few minutes after this final question, allowing that love to just permeate your being.
I love that this meditation sounds like a really powerful way to access, that deeper level of wisdom and guidance.
Absolutely.
I could see how it could be truly transformative for anyone who is struggling with challenging relationships or the situations in their life.
And the beauty of it is that it's so accessible. You don't need any special training or experience. It's simply about quieting the mind, opening your heart, and listening deeply.
This has been such an insightful deep dive into the triangle of love. I'm already starting to think about how I can apply these principles to my own life.
Yeah, it's a rich and nuanced approach to personal growth and spiritual transformation. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Well said. And for our listeners who are interested in exploring these concepts further, we highly recommend checking out Tom Ogazon's book, The Triangle of Love.
Yeah, he provides a wealth of wisdom and practical guidance that can help you connect with the master within and navigate life's challenges with more grace, compassion, and detachment.
If the master within embodies both detachment and compassion, how can you embody those qualities in your own life, especially in challenging situations? Perhaps this ancient symbol, the triangle of love, can serve as a guiding light on your journey. Until next time, keep diving deep.